Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
And George just got back from an all expenses paid, well, except for the rental fee, vacation to Westworld.
Westworld.
And other worlds, too, apparently.
Ooh.
Yeah, Roman world.
Medieval world?
Medieval.
Greek
I wish
world.
we would have seen
Heck
more Roman world.
Was Greek world not a thing?
Greek
Never
world
mind.
was not there.
Just Nico Masterakis and a series of windy sets is all that was.
Yes.
Yeah. That's missed opportunity. Anyway,
A few of those.
George, Travis, how you doing, guys?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm ready to rock and roll. I also missed Roman world, but, you know, from what they described, it didn't sound like we were exactly in the Republic fighting back against dictators. It sounded like a lot more just banging.
Sounded
Yeah.
like some Caligula going on there.
I think whatever was going on in the Wild West was also happening in Rome. And do as the Romans do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of grape eating. Fanning.
Okay. Grape eating.
Oh,
Great
jeez
meeting.
Louise. Hey, George, did you take any notes tonight that you want to get out in front, or should we just
No.
jump right in?
No.
I don't think he took
I
any
can
notes.
I can tell you that I had to rewind
Uh-huh.
He pulled a Travis.
because I fell asleep right in the middle.
What? Dude.
Well, he had a rough day at work today.
What? What?
I really did.
My excuse was I didn't start watching it last night till about, I don't know, 1:30.
My
So.
excuse was that it was boring.
Hmm.
What?
What? Oh. I shed a tear. George is not a finished product yet, listeners.
No,
You gotta
not
keep
yet.
working on this
apparently.
guy.
Is Travis a finished product?
Why, you want to know if I liked it or not?
Yeah. Did you like it?
I liked it for reasons that you probably don't know why.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen a lot of movies, so I've seen a lot more movies of this premise that are a lot more action-packed.
Yeah.
But for the reasons why we watched it, I do like it. I thought of a thing that would probably have made it better.
You thought of a thing?
Thought of a thing.
Okay.
Travis
One
is
little
thinking
thing.
about things. What thing did you think
Well, I
about?
don't know if should we try to fix it now, or do we try to fix George first?
I mean, we've already heard that it's boring, so why not let's just fix it right up front. Travis, what would you do differently to make George less bored?
I think probably the reason why it was boring was it was done in the 70s. So it kind of was restricted to its ability to make things happen. Like today, everything would have been CGI. It would have been all, there would have been 30, 40, 50 robots at one time. It would have been like crazy. This was more of a character movie because they didn't probably have a big budget. So my issue was they should have left it a surprise that the animatronics were animatronics. It should have been more of a, oh shit, they're robots. Instead of we find out in the very beginning that everything's robotic except for the guests. And I think that probably would have added a little bit more to the movie. Probably a lot more.
If this was a video podcast, you would all
Mhm.
see me doing the Kanye West, shaking the head, looking at you like,
No?
nope, negative.
Maybe not like at the very end find out he's a robot, but I think the whole time I was expecting something to go wrong because they were robots. And they were kind of hinting towards it throughout the movie, which is fine. But that's where I was thinking it would have been better, maybe even like maybe an hour in, maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes. But it was like the very first RoboCop infomercial at the very beginning told you they were robots.
Yeah.
When the reporter from Willy Wonka and the
Yeah.
Chocolate Factory showed up with
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
wonderful haircut. He had the Don Flamenco haircut from Punch-Out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
like
I
that
thought
guy.
to myself, okay, let them get there, let them kind of settle in, feel like they're on a vacation. I liked all that. I really didn't. I thought the characters were fun. I thought the Yul Brynner character, the gunslinger, was really cool, especially his first appearance. Like all that stuff, that tension, that the James Brolin character had been there before, so he was kind of smirking, and he knew what was to expect. I liked all that. And I liked the fact that they were androids, but that whole reveal that they were had this Disney underground and they were taking them down. I love that part where they came out in the middle of the night and cleaned the place up. That was all cool because it kind of made me think, okay, maybe that should have been something that happens, but maybe the main characters didn't know that they were animatronic. I think he should have found out maybe when he shot him. And not know, neither of them knew that they were animatronics. They just probably would have thought they were actors. And then that would have been a good time to reveal that the underground where they repair them and all that stuff.
I think we need a new rule for the podcast, which is y'all got to watch movies after a nap. That's my new proposed rule.
I have done that before. I've gotten home from work, had a nap.
I
and
was
then
into the
watched movies.
movie. Don't get me wrong. I said to you earlier today the reason why I gave it a better grade than it probably should have got was that I know who made it. I know who wrote it. So to me, it was the first draft of Jurassic Park.
So
it was
George,
a college version.
George, let me throw some names at you, and tell me what you know about the following names. Are you ready, George?
Yeah.
Yul Brynner. Any idea who that is?
Nothing. Zero.
Well, he played the Black Hat Cowboy android, the main antagonist for most of the movie.
Yep.
He played Ramses in the 10 Commandments. You've probably seen that movie.
Okay.
Oh my God, you've never seen the 10 Commandments? It's played on TV every year. What?
I probably have. I don't know.
What? It plays on TV every year. Everybody in the Catholic Church watches it, and probably all the other people too. All of them in the whole world. Everybody watches that movie.
Everybody becomes an idolater to watch that movie.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, he's very famous.
Okay.
Super famous, and just kind of a bad A overall.
Yeah.
So it'd be like if you did it today. And I mean, I'm trying to think.
You use The Rock.
Yeah, I was thinking The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be The Rock or somebody.
Or like Jason Statham, somebody with an edge to him. Vin Diesel, right? Vin Diesel as the gunslinger, in context. Okay. Jeez Louise. All right, how about this? James Brolin. Do you know who that is?
Who?
James Brolin.
Oh, little Jimmy Brolin? No, I don't
You know
who
his
that
son. We just watched him last
James
week.
Brolin is the friend that is experienced in Westworld, the confident one who gets blown away by Yul Brynner's character.
Yeah, he looks like, yeah.
He's the dad of Llewellyn from No Country.
Really?
Josh
Yes.
Brolin, yeah.
He's super
Word
famous
up.
actor. Been in a million things. Household name. Not the Warner household, but most households.
No.
Right.
Jeez.
Wow.
Okay, how about this one?
That's Llewellyn's dad. That makes sense.
We're making connections
He
here.
took his snarky pills today.
We're soldering.
That's what happens when he naps. He gets snarky.
Gosh, get that guy a beer. All right. How about this name, George? Michael Crichton.
No.
How about if I pronounce it correctly as Michael Crichton? You ever heard of a Michael Crichton?
No.
You ever heard of a TV show called ER?
I have heard of that, yes.
Ever seen a movie called Twister?
I have seen Twister, yes.
Well, he wrote it. He wrote a lot of scientifically accurate and or at least semi-accurate movies and books over the years. He wrote one, it's not that famous, but you might have heard of Parc du Jurassique. Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
Under
I
the
have
English
heard of
title,
that.
probably Jurassic Park.
Yes, I have heard
Yeah.
of
No
that.
subtitles.
Yep.
I mean, it's better in Italian with the English subtitles, but it's fine in English as well. The dubbing is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
CGI also pretty good all these years later. Anyway, essentially the same movie you just watched, but without cowboys and with more dinosaurs. Also based on a novel written by Michael Crichton.
So he writes the same story over and over again with different characters?
Well, he writes the same theme, right? Which
Okay.
is technology
Right.
taken for granted, getting away from us and, basically turning and attacking us.
Okay, so this, this whole premise, like, the robots are gonna like take on a mind of their own and start harming people, and it's like we're practically living in this right now, right? Like, I see this movie every day.
Do you though? Go on.
I definitely do.
Where did the voices talk to you, George?
No, I mean, like, all right, so the reason why all right. So movies very predictable, right? The thing that we created gets away from us, it harms us, right? That's like, that was, it's like you said, the Jurassic Park thing, taking the technology too far and creating something that you can't control, right? So I've seen this movie before, but not this movie. And then also, like, I was kind of like hoping towards the end that like maybe, the robots were like, the robots turning on them was also like part of the program, just to like scare the shit out of you, the vacationer. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool if like
they're all in on it
even,
except for him. It's just
exactly.
Well, they kind of did that in a way, like with the bank robbery, and then the putting him in jail for shooting the guy. Like, they did kind of scare him a little bit by putting
right. But then when his friend got shot, it
and
was
he
like,
bleeding.
oh, it's on.
Right, it's on, right?
I thought it would be cool if that was part of the program. But then again, I was like, well, then how does this
to mind, Dan, that we might have to.
But then I was like, how does this movie end? If that's the case, then like, what was the point? That would be a sucky ending too. And then it didn't do that. It just kept treading forward with the same theme until the famous guy's face came off, and that
which was
it.
Revealed much earlier as well, when they were fixing him.
Yes.
So that kind of takes away from. I mean, yeah, the character's getting the shock of the robot, but the viewer is not.
Well, it's not a shock. He knows it's a robot.
Yeah, but
it just doesn't have a face.
I think there would have been more of a to it if someone was shocked.
Well, and I think you're supposed to feel a bit of like horror when he pops up without a face, because it is that uncanny valley where you're walking that fine line between reality and unreality, right? And so to see a human form with a missing face in a cavern where their brain should be, it's supposed to hit you in your instincts, just like, ugh, And if you're not recoiling, then you're too tired and you got to watch the movie again. Next week, Westworld again.
It looks like when I see the robot without a face, it looks like a Facebook profile.
What?
It's like, here's a person. It resembles a person, but there's no brain. Like, you're like, oh, let me follow this person, see what they're into. Ah, never mind. No brain in that one.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. And then, so furthermore, I follow people like, like Elon, who are like, who have been and are warning about
AI,
and I've seen The Matrix, so
you might not get The Matrix without Westworld.
Right.
I mean, shoot, man, I don't need your Led Zeppelin 2. I've got Greta Van Fleet. This is what you were saying right now.
I guess that's kind of true.
Sad.
I'm like, I don't know.
I don't need this.
I've seen this a million times.
I don't need this JTM 45 turned up to 11. And no, I have a Joyo pedal. It goes straight to the PA, and it sounds, almost exactly the same.
But like, how many times have I seen this movie?
How many
I don't
times
know.
have
You've
you
only
seen
seen
this
like 20
movie?
movies, so.
No, I saw Jurassic Park. Okay, so I've seen that. Technology getting out of control.
But see,
I've seen The Matrix. What's that like Will Smith movie where all the robots like try to kill him? There's that one.
Or I Am Robot?
There's
or no, I,
yeah,
Robot?
I, Robot. There's like there's a bajillion movies where robots like get smart and try to kill people.
They all came from this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. This is, I mean,
How many
I don't know.
westerns have you seen, George?
I've seen a few westerns. I
Do
like
you-
westerns actually.
Do you delight during the first 45 minutes to an hour of this movie when they're taking the slow burn approach to just give you a fun experience living in a western for a minute?
Yes.
You get your bar brawl, you get your,
Get
your
laid.
courtesans, right? You get your bank robbery opportunity and your decision making. What do I do? Do I put it in a robot or do I go next door and put bullets in a robot? Like, you really
Either way, I'm putting something in a robot.
Right.
Yes, I did enjoy that.
charming as hell. You get the Batman 66 brawl in the saloon, which is just a western brawl. I mean, that's where that comes from.
You know the part where I realized I loved it?
When
when Brenner walks into the saloon and starts breaking his balls.
oh my god, yeah,
And everybody clears out.
that
Everybody
moment
gets
when
up.
everybody gets out of their
Yeah.
chair is the
Yeah.
perfect western.
I
Just
loved that. I
Ah.
was like, to me, the movie as a full thing, I understand why George is kind of but there's there's a ton of moments in the movie that are good that I love. I don't know if I love the movie as a whole, but there's so many parts in it that I liked to the point where I was like, okay, I'm good with this because I'm coming into it right now. I think I saw this once when I was a kid. So I'm actually watching it with a keen eye now. And I get it, but I understand how it could turn people to like, I've seen it. I kind of understand where he's coming from, but as somebody who loves the movies that it came from or that it inspired, it doesn't bother me at all. Because I know there were so many directors that are inspired by this movie to make it grander and better, including the guy who wrote it and directed it. Because he got a second chance. He's like, okay, I made this movie in the 70s, 73, no technology was there, whatever. Now I have this other book that is way better than Westworld, and I'm going to make it what I've always wanted to make it, and that's what he made Jurassic Park. So it's like, this, I said to Dan earlier today, I said, this is kind of like the college filmmaker's version. And then when he got the money and the backing and the experience, he made Jurassic Park. So
Yeah.
that's what made me love it. Well, not love it. I don't love it, but that's what made me like it and appreciate it. Are you still rolling your eyes, Dan?
I appreciate that.
So, George, one thing I want to throw at you, and I did this with Clerks, and it worked, so I'll try it again. He made Westworld. Michael Crichton made Westworld for 1/63rd the budget of Jurassic Park, not adjusted for inflation.
That doesn't impress me.
$1 million is all he spent to make this movie. But keep in
and
mind,
half of that went into that snake.
yeah, I mean that snake, that beautiful tinfoil mouth snake. I mean, I got to tell you, these robots looked like they had some excellent tone. Did you get that feeling, George?
And firecrackers.
A lot of point-to-point wiring, a lot of big old capacitors.
Oh yeah, I was liking the parts that they were using.
I knew you
can't-
would.
I was like, these
You
are
can't
old.
lead him to that.
I know. He should have
Yeah.
said it on his own, but I let him there. 'Cause he
These
hadn't said
are
it
old
yet.
school through hole parts. These are the best. This
Yeah.
is what you make robots out of.
Yep.
Not those doorbell parts. Like this is the real shit.
Oh, that is a,
Anyway,
that is a
what
deep
was I
cut.
saying?
That is more controversial than any of our listeners are going to realize what you just said. Both of us, a lot of grief over the years for our stance on these things. Well, a lot of mojo and pixie dust and Yul Brynner. Am I
Well,
right?
not a lot. It's fine.
Oh,
It's fine.
I do love the disparity. If you need like grounding, not the electrical kind, but just metaphysical grounding while you're watching this movie,
Mm.
take a peep at the computer equipment they're using to run the park and compare it
Wow.
to the technology that they're trying to simulate with these fake robot guys. I mean, the high-tech demonstration of money and power is that they can draw like asteroids quality like
Vector I think they're like vector.
Yeah, like vector graphics.
Are you talking about its vision, like the pixel?
No,
vision?
on the computer screens around where it's
computer
just
screens.
like it's a triangle that
Oh.
bounces around the screen. Ooh, look at the
Ah,
money.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
too young to remember this, but when I was in grammar school, we had a computer like that, and you had to type in coordinates, RT90, RT -90, and you had to draw something with this stupid turtle. This turtle would take all those coordinates, and it would draw the house that you just coordinated, and if you didn't do it right, it didn't draw the house. That's what it looked like. It looked like the shit we did in like 1982,
Gotcha.
where it was like cutting edge.
God,
The
yeah,
original
programming
Star
into
Wars video
BASIC.
game.
Where it was like line 10,
Yeah.
draw pixel at location. Line 20, draw pixel at location. Go. Oh, I missed.
I missed it.
Oh.
It does. It looks like the old Star Wars video game in the arcade where you had to kind of blow up the Death Star and everything was just wire drawing, vector wire art. That's what it was. I'm like looking at them like they can make basic humans, but they can't have more advanced computers.
But, we can tell that for sure those computers they were using would not be able to tell you what was making that sound on the phone recording. Because those were the exact same computers as Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
I thought that too.
It just looked like a lot of
I thought it looked
tapes
like
spinning.
Yeah, it looked like recording equipment.
And recording
I'm like,
equipment.
Like it's like a big Echoplex.
I think those are old data access, cheaper than using a hard drive. You've got a lot of reel-to-reel tape data
What's funny is
access.
that entire set would fit in an iWatch now.
It was airtight though. That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
It was
got
it
very
had
warm
to
in
be
there.
airtight. It had to be.
Yeah.
Why would you make a supercomputer like that and not make the room airtight?
Did you catch that the hovercraft that they used to drive in
Yeah.
was basically a hotel lobby and then a screen showing you a fragment of a wing?
Yes.
That's making your money stretch, guys. Like you have to understand if you have no money. I mean, if anything for you guys, I think you've been so spoiled lately by computer graphics, CGI, the modern, and modern even up through the 80s high budget miniature work, right? This movie has no money, but it has the ambition to be a $100 million picture. And so it's doing everything it can to keep you not looking directly at its crappy effects, but, looking at the thing happening next to them so you get the impression that the effects were actually pretty good, when in reality what you're looking at, it's like a cardboard box painted silver on a TV screen in the corner. But it works if you let it work. If you don't George it to death.
It definitely works.
Hi,
I'll take your
caramba.
word for it.
But it's a very dated movie. But and this is not nostalgia, Travis talking, because I have zero nostalgia for this movie. The story is there. The moments are there, but it suffers from the fact that you've seen this idea multiple times, and it suffers from a low budget.
Yeah.
I think if this was $100 million budget, you just watched iRobot. You just watched Minority Report. You just watched Jurassic Park. But instead, you're watching George Lucas make Star Wars for the first time fresh out of college. You're getting, like Dan said, the money's being stretched. And yeah, that's a trash can with wheels, but fuck. Like, look at it.
Beep, beep, beep,
No,
beep.
that's R2D2.
It's R2D2, and
No.
it became iconic. And it's a trash can with wheels.
No, it's R2D2.
So
Disrespect R2D2.
I won't. But I'm just saying, like that, the same thing applies to back then. The budget restricts the filmmaker, and sometimes the filmmaker makes it work, sometimes he doesn't. So they picked and chose where they were going to use it, and some of it suffers. I think it's a good movie.
All right, so I have a question for you. Why didn't I feel this way about Back to the Future?
Because it's a perfect movie.
Because, like I said, and you guys pointed out to me, everything that I know about, time travel in that movie is something that other movies had pulled from that movie, right? So, in essence, I had seen that movie before. But when I was watching it, I was enjoying it. And I was like, wow, this is like, this is a good movie. When I was watching it, I enjoyed it.
Right.
Why with this movie did I say, I've seen this before, and just go,
Well, I've got a couple of reasons I'm going to throw at you, George. I'm going to send them to you numerically here. Number A is that you didn't get enough sleep, and you obviously worked too hard today. So
that is not...
you did not watch
that's
in the
not
right
true.
mindset. Number 3, I'm going to skip number 2 and come back to it. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't actually have a list. But here's another thing that I think one thing that Back to the Future does so successfully, and we touched on it during the recording of that episode, but we couldn't fully divest all of our knowledge about it because you hadn't seen the second and third one yet. But everything that it brings up, it intentionally pays off at some point. And you can look at that 2 ways. One, you can look at, it's the perfect movie because everything it sets up, it pays off. But an alternate perspective would be, it is telegraphing what it's going to do by paying off every single thing that it sets up in a very in front of you, both hands on the table kind of way. What Westworld doesn't bother to do is to hand feed you subtext, right? The subtext that they hand feed you, the little bit they give you is, the machines we made are out of control and now we can't control them and now we have to run. But there's a lot more going on in this movie that it gives you the breadcrumbs to, but it doesn't take you all the way. And I think if you're not in the mood to look for it, or if you're not aware that it's there, you're going to watch the whole movie, you're going to be like, that's it? Like, the monster got out of control and we couldn't control it, and now, it's out of control and now people died. Like, okay.
Well, what are the subtle things that George is missing?
Well, okay, let's talk about it. George, how much does it cost to go to the Delos Park?
$1,000 a day.
In 1970s dollars. 1973. How much is that today?
I don't know.
12 grand?
Let's find out.
Not that much. $2,500 a day.
You'll be surprised. It's going to be more than that.
That's pretty much the amount it takes to go in the Disney World right now. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Mouse.
Okay, so $1 in 1973 is worth
$2.50 today.
No, it's way more than that. $6.
Okay.
$6,000 a day.
So it's $6,000 a day. Now, the characters that you meet at the beginning, when you're laughing so hard at Don Flamenco and his silly hair, they all come off as awkward, ridiculous, kind of overzealous in creepy ways, a lot of them.
Yeah.
That one lady is like thirsty, right?
Yes.
Ooh, watch out, reporter guy. She's coming for you next. So you build up this thing where these people are spending inappropriate amounts of money. They're already kind of creepy, weird people. And they're going just to imbibe their carnal desires, right? They want to shoot, and they also want to shoot guns, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Let's talk about class for a little bit. Die Hard. Boots from the ground perspective, looking up, right? Everybody above me is dumb, and George loves this movie. But in this movie...
I would say loves, but it's a good movie.
He enjoyed it.
Well, once you thought about that, you came on board.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good movie.
Damn right. Damn right. I've had a lot of messages off the board this week being like, George doesn't like Die Hard? What the fuck is wrong with him?
Why isn't that not on the board?
Well, because it's people that aren't on the board. They need to be on the board. People that said that to me. We need to get you on the board. And, of course, we're referring to the extra credit discussion group on Facebook. Facebook.com/groups/Remedial Film Pod. We'll see you there.
Make it more fun.
So in this movie, George, what you lack, you being the viewer, not just George, what the viewer lacks is any avatar of the working class, except for the mechanic who's trying to fix his buggy and get the hell out of Dodge. Other than him, everybody you actually meet is either a highfalutin scientist playing God with robots, actually a robot, or you meet some dumb rich person who's just going to blow money so they can bang robots and shoot robots with guns. So you don't have an avatar for you to look at and be like, yeah, man, I agree with your world perspective. Instead, what it forces you to do is take a step back and realize all these people kind of suck, and maybe they're getting what's coming.
Okay.
So, for example, the guy who becomes the main character, right? You don't know it at first because everybody who watched this movie assumes James Brolin is going to be your main character, and then he Janet Leigh's on you, and suddenly Richard Benjamin is your main character. The less experienced, hesitant cowboy is suddenly the only one left from your little group of two who's even got a chance to survive.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about
final girl. He was the final girl.
He
was the final girl. Yes.
And what a jeez Louise.
He was a hell of a final girl.
Well, he has the arc, right? He has the most room to grow. He goes from your nervous about it, over analytical, like super
Divorced.
uptight guy. He goes through the nervousness to use the firearm and then learns to love the firearm and love the robot ladies and embrace the lifestyle and then have it turn on him the hardest because he's already come the farthest. Like, that's your character arc. He's super important because without that, it's just people going to the same place they've already been and just having something unexpected happen. But
okay.
so it's important. It's important that he has that arc, but it's also important that he's a divorcee with a wife that he's still kind of hung up on and kids he should be supporting. And so again, even though he is kind of your main character in your avatar, if you take a step back and look, he's spending $6,000 today dollars a day when he should probably be paying his child support.
Mm-hmm.
None of these people get off scot-free even before they get off the hovercraft cardboard box.
I didn't even think of any of that.
Because it's not it's
not
there, but you
right?
got to mine for it. It's not just, yeah, man, this movie's got a lot going on, and it's just, maybe it's because it's early in his career, maybe it's because Michael Crichton's a better writer than he is a filmmaker. Although I think this movie rocks. Whatever.
It's a great premise, I do have to say. I enjoy the premise. Like you said, it probably, maybe if he made it 15 years later, it would have had all that in there.
Well,
because I think a lot of that is in Jurassic Park. Like the whole classism and the the victims, like everybody in that movie, all that stuff is there. They explain through actions and small dialogue where all these people are in certain classes.
Well, and if you read the book, Jurassic Park,
Yes, I have read that.
the chaos theory thing, he's got a bug in him that he wants to get this chaos theory across to the reader, and then they get to the movie and it's like one line of dialogue from Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't get the service it deserves given how important it is to the book. If you strip that out of Jurassic Park, if you look at Jurassic Park the book and you're like, okay, all the things that it's giving me, I'm going to take the intellectual part out, rip it from the pages, I'm going to type it into one line of dialogue for the Malcolm character, you get the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, that is more similar to this movie than the book is similar to this movie. It's interesting. They dumbed down the book Jurassic Park to get it to be Westworld again. And Westworld, they had to keep it simple because they couldn't afford to go any more complex.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up with the same movie twice, but one of them costs 63 times as much money. Or I guess now that we know that 6 times, let's say 14 times as much money.
Mm.
No, more than that.
Well, it's 2021.
63 times 6.
No, that's $2021. That was made in 92.
Oh,
It was made in
So you'd have to look
93.
at-
93. Okay.
92.
Yeah.
So in 92, let me look. 1992, I've got my little chart up here.
73 to 92.
It's
Carry
about
the
3
two.
times as much. So, so 20 times
It
as
was-
much money.
It was, no.
Because it was $1 million, well, 1.2 million for, we're doing math on this show. This is how tired George
I'm
is.
I'm
maps.
actually pretty good at math. Or maps.
Maps.
I'm actually pretty good at math.
All right, we're going to find out. So it was $1 million in 73.
For this movie.
It was $63 in 92 or 93, which is about 3
63
times
million.
the buying power. So 63 divided by 3 takes you down to 20.
Yeah, 20 times.
So it's
yeah.
20 times as much money.
Yeah, let's just say it's 20 times.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot more money to get
It's a
the
lot
same
more money.
movie. Only now you have dinosaurs instead of Yul Brynner.
Was Jurassic Park 20 times better than this?
Probably.
Yes.
Is it? Is it because you have
Yes.
a
It is-
kid? Like, do the kids
is
make
for
it better? Like,
reasons.
what's different in Jurassic Park?
Dinosaurs.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
If there
It's
were
just better.
30 Yul Brenners running around, maybe. Like,
Different breeds of Yul Brynner. Like
and
one
he
that's
jumped
real
up
tall
on the bar
and
and
big
tapped his
mouth.
toe like a velociraptor. Yeah.
This
His
movie
walk,
did
I
have a
couldn't get it-
distinct
I
lack
couldn't get
of
past the
clever
walk.
girls. There were not
It
enough
just-
clever girls in Westworld.
Yeah, I think the gunslinger, he lost me at his walk.
I don't care about the gunslinger's walk.
But he had his
I like
hands
the
on his belt. He
Jurassic
kind of was
Park-
walking weird.
I like the Jurassic Park.
Wasn't
It was
imposing.
like one. It's like one of these three. Like, why did you even need 3 amusement park places? Like,
I think they wanted to show the breakdown in other places to kind of build tension and suspense. Like, they mentioned that they were breaking down in succession, I guess, based on when they were installed.
yeah,
Because it was like, oh, this went down this point, and then this is going down
Yeah, the
now.
failure
now,
rate.
Now
I
the
remember
failure,
them
the failure
talking
rate, and
about
all
that,
that
yeah.
stuff. So I wonder if they created the 3 worlds just to either make fun of the Disney worlds, maybe
I don't know.
the
But
different
like
lands.
Jurassic Park didn't have 2 other parks. Like, it was just Jurassic Park. Let's just focus on one thing. Let's just make this go wrong here.
But they had paddocks in Jurassic Park. There were different paddocks.
I mean, part of it is that thing where you're in your house and you hear about something bad happening to your neighbor, and then something bad happens to the neighbor on your other side, and you get that looming sense that something is coming for you, right? The walls are closing in. If you cut those other 2 worlds out and it's just, hey, I'm certainly glad we banged those robots last night. Uh-oh, this one shot me. Like, that would seem like a total, just like abrupt non sequitur. And you could make that work, but it wouldn't be the same movie. And it wouldn't be the same theme of robots getting out of control as much as it would be like, you effed that robot's girlfriend and now he's mad at you.
Well, I mean, you could
Talking
do
about
it
the
without
snake,
the
of
other.
course. It's a biblical
Yeah.
thing.
You could do it without the other worlds. It would just have to all have to happen within Westworld.
It would have to happen like over the course of one night with a big power outage and Sam Jackson
No,
being like,
no,
hold
no,
on
no,
to your
no.
butts.
Hold on to your butts.
I do love that line. I love Jurassic Park. It's fine. But I like
Yeah.
this movie better. And you might be able to tell that from my ardent defense of it. But
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and I'm
I
not
think
even like a
Nostalgia
Western
Travis
guy.
just likes Jurassic Park for other reasons.
Yeah, I mean Jurassic Park's cool.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, yeah, sure. All right, cool. Right. Great. I can't sing the score for Westworld, but I can sing it for Jurassic Park. Point Jurassic Park. But I like the book better. Negative
book is
point
better.
Jurassic Park.
More people die.
You know what was cool? Which I would have liked to see more of, or not like more of, but this is the way I would have developed the story. You know how, like, the snake bit him, and they're like, oh, it's not supposed to do that. But it was just like a little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was after that. After that, in the bar fight, like, someone gets thrown off the balcony and they, like, lands on their table.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was more chaotic. Like, they could develop things within the world. Like, things are getting more and more dangerous. Things are getting more and more, becoming closer and closer calls. And it's like, I don't think this is normal.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going wrong in this world.
It would have been really cool if when the body hits the table and they act all, oh, that's just one step too far. Let's punch some robots. If after a minute you realize that was a guest,
Yeah.
that would be really
They should have
cool.
established that person as a guest earlier.
Right.
That would have been
Yeah.
really cool. Like, that's a
Maybe
cool
the
little
sheriff.
thing.
Yeah.
Because you knew he came in on that Hotel on Wheels when they did.
Mm-hmm.
The Van Patten
Yeah.
character.
You see guests getting wrecked, and you're like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then you realize something's wrong, and you don't need medieval world, and you don't need Rome
I
world.
still like the idea that they have more worlds, though, because here's the thing. A conversation we had, my wife and I, watching this movie last night, and she'd seen it before, too. We'd seen it a couple of times. But I turned to her and I go, you know what? I know it doesn't go well, but I'd still go to Westworld in a heartbeat. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, you would. And I realized, like, yeah, maybe she would rather go to Rome world or medieval world. You know, it's like the three of us, we probably all end up in Westworld, unless it was like, you know, getting to fight in a phalanx or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. With the name Travis, yeah, I'm heading to Westworld, I think.
So
yeah, I'm going to Westworld.
I mean,
too.
that's the thing. We think, oh, we don't need these other worlds, but for other viewers, they're probably like, oh, thank goodness we had Rome world, or else I would have had no connection to these dumb old cowboys and their stinky armpits and their guns and their horses.
That was the other thing that I loved about it. Like when I was in college, we went to, was it Vic and whatever's Italian wedding or whatever? It was like a one of those.
Wow, watch your language.
What?
I don't know.
It was one of those improv weddings, but it was like an Italian wedding.
An improv wedding?
Yeah, where all the actors are at the wedding. You're at the wedding. You're at the reception, and everybody's an actor.
Is it a real wedding?
No, it's you pay to go to it.
Oh, it's improv.
It's improv.
Oh.
But the guests are watching a show. It's kind of like Mystery Theater, but it's a wedding.
Oh.
So I went to that one time, and my friend John, who drug us all there, said it's only as fun as you make it. Oh, he's in George mode today.
I'm just kidding.
It's only as fun as you make it.
Okay.
So if you get involved, then you're going to have a lot more fun than sitting in the corner.
Okay.
So he's like, he showed up. He had the gun in the holster. He had the whole zoot suit thing, and he was playing the part. So then we were all playing it. Now he's acting like he's really interested, but he's not.
So what you're saying was that I was watching this movie sitting in the corner.
No, what I'm saying is what I loved about the beginning of the movie was once they became Western actors, they were guests to this West. The Brolin character was playing it up.
Yes.
And to me, that's like what I would do. And then I know people that would be more like the Benjamin character, the Peter, who was reluctant because he felt weird. And
sure.
So to me, that was a great dynamic too. Like all that stuff I loved. I was on board all the way until I realized that they lost me with the lack of budget, and it was just not as cool as it could have been. But all the character development I was cool with. The world development was cool. The satire in the beginning, kind of the RoboCop kind of copiness. I was all on board for that. It was all cool. They should have played that up more. Even make like a commercial. Like I know it's the 70s, but I think it would have been more campy and fun if it was like an infomercial and all that stuff. It just kind of was like an interview with a reporter. So there's like a few things that I think would have made it better for me personally, but I understand why Dan thinks it's perfect the way it is. But because I was watching it as somebody expecting more, because it's such an iconic film, it became a TV series. It's doing really well. Everybody's watching it. It's very complex, a lot of characters. That's why I think the worlds get wasted, because there's no complexity. Even the stuff that Dan's talking about, there's no real complexity because they don't have the time like a TV show would have. Like if they sat there, they kind of dabbled in it when they were trying to tell the story of the old man in the medieval time, because even the scientists said, "Oh, this is his last day. Let's make it special." And they did. And they did. So it's like those kind of things are there, but they're subtle. And I think if it was a more well-written movie for today, I think there would have been more characters, there would have been more development, and you would have cared more other than the two guys. Like I didn't care about anybody else but them two, because they didn't bother developing anything else.
Right.
Even the Yul Brynner character and the Van Patten who became the sheriff, like he seemed like a kind of character that could have been a fun develop as well, because he looked apprehensive as well. He looked a fish out of water. He looked kind of scared, but then he kind of fell into the part, but then he kept dabbling back to being scared and then swallowing that and being a sheriff. So it was like, but I don't know anything about him. He's technically has like 11 minutes screen time, and that's it.
Probably related to how many days they could have him on set.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was famous But then again, Brenner, like everybody in this movie is famous, so maybe they did some favors. I don't know.
That Yul Brynner walk, though, man, that is the classic. I mean, you have to think of it as, he's a robot who's supposed to only be
Pretending to be Western.
Yeah, gunfighting
Yeah.
in the street and also in the bar. So the only way they're going to
Yeah.
program him to walk is in that,
And in all those settings, it worked. The only time it seemed weird was during the pursuit chase at the end.
But it's supposed to feel weird.
I know,
And then
but it just
They
made
build
him
it
look
up as
corny.
he's slow walking, but then he starts to run and you're just like, oh no, he can run
Yeah.
now. Like, yeah.
Maybe you should have had more of a John Wayne walk. I don't know.
What is the John Wayne walk? I
The
don't know.
John Wayne walk. I don't know, just more swagger. He didn't have any Western swagger. He was walking like a robot.
But
I
don't you
like
reserve the
like what
swagger
you're
for the
saying.
good guy? He's the black
Yeah.
cat. You got to let him
He's
be
the
the
black-
stiff
right.
one.
But I do like the fact, like you said, he's a robot programmed to walk like a cowboy, so he's not going to walk he's going to walk like a robot walking like a cowboy. I get that. But everybody else was walking the part. Right?
Is that you, John
Is it
Wayne?
me?
Do you know what this movie made me think of? Early John Carpenter movies. Very much. I know it's this kind of the same era. It's a little bit before, Somebody's Watching Me or something in that era. But John Carpenter, man, The Fog. Trying to think of Prince of Darkness. Not really. There's too much
Well, I
money
think
there.
George only has one reference of a Carpenter movie.
Yeah,
But
I know,
for
that's
the
why I was like,
listeners who have seen John Carpenter movies from this era, when he was making making movies for no money, this
Yeah,
felt like one of those John Carpenter movies where he's scraping by in the smallest budget he can, and he's delivering way more, quality for the dollar than most directors do with a big budget.
Yeah, I was having like a precinct assault on Precinct 13 kind of feel,
Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
sure.
but he doesn't know that movie.
Well,
You know what
and
it reminded me of?
The Fog as well.
It reminded me of that movie with
Jurassic Park.
with Jim Carrey, and he was the only one that didn't know that it was fake.
Oh, Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they
That's
kind
what
of
it kinda
tapped
looked like
into
a little
this
bit.
to make that.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
an inverse Truman Show, where the only
Yeah.
the only one who knows that it's the Truman Show is Truman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That changes the story.
You know what my favorite part of this movie was? No joke. When
The credits.
when the when the scientists were like, oh, this is like it's spreading like it's a disease or something like that, and blah blah blah. And the executive was like, I should probably just let it go. It's fine. Like, it's like, maybe we should shut all this down. He's like, nah, you just let it go.
Yeah, it's like the Hammond
That's
character.
gonna be fine.
This is pre computer virus, so it kind of called that.
I wasn't even thinking computer virus.
Oh,
Right.
really? 'Cause
I was thinking like 2019, 2020.
Right.
Oh
like,
yeah, herd immunity.
when-
They were
when-
trying to get
yeah,
robot
like-
herd immunity, and they're
Exactly.
just
Well,
let it go.
No. Yeah, not quite.
Open the
What
schools.
I was thinking was just
Yul
like,
Brynner's loose.
hey, let's just, we got this thing going on. Go away.
It'll go.
I literally thought, I was like, yeah, this robot virus should be done by Easter. It's fine. Like, literally, that's what I thought.
The boys will be
I was
home
like,
by
yo.
Christmas. It's fine.
Exactly. And that was the best part of the movie.
In
I was like, wow,
years,
that was prophetic.
But it,
7
I mean,
years later, we're still wearing
it
masks.
wasn't a lot of ways because for one,
Yeah.
computer viruses, and for also, we're all wearing masks. Robots don't have to wear masks though. They don't have lungs. Kind of cool. Do I wish I were a robot? No.
No.
Sometimes.
No, because robots don't have consciousness.
I think Eastwood would have been a good
Yet.
cast.
Eastwood?
They should have had Eastwood play the gunslinger. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that
Eastwood
would be
was
good.
like big time money by this point though. You
I
were
know,
if
but
they'd made it
how
5
awesome.
years earlier. You know,
how awesome would it be to have the cowboy, or maybe even when was this made? 73.
Yeah.
So John Wayne was still alive. He would have been a good get.
Was he still alive? I
Yeah,
thought
he died in
was-
like 81, I think.
He died in 79. All right, 79. I'll give you that one. He was still alive.
So-
I thought he was dead by
79?
now. So did they not do the shootist? Oh, till 76. There you go. I had
Hmm.
that pegged in my head 10 years earlier, but there
When
you
did he
go.
die? 79?
79.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was like 80, 81, but yeah, that was close. Because I remember seeing him like do things on TV. I remember him doing interviews. I was maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, see, with Travis,
I'm old.
with dates with Travis, it's plus or minus a
1
year
year.
for every decade. So really,
So if it was made
1980,
in 2000,
that's 40 years ago.
yeah.
He's plus or minus 4 years. So if he says 81, that's within
The Travis
the
tolerance.
margin of error. Yes.
That rule only applies to movies being made. If you say, "Oh, when was Alien made?" and I'm like, "Oh, when did it come out? 79," and I'm either on the nose or I'm a year off.
a year or 2 off. Yeah.
Right.
It's 1 year for every decade. You
It
have
basically
go
has to
back.
do with movies that came out when I was working at the movie theater.
Basically, yeah.
unless it's an iconic film where I know, oh, Star Wars came out in 81, Empire came out in 81, Star Wars came out in 77. Like those things I know. But then
Right.
there's other movies that I'm like, what was I manager then? Oh, that was 98. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, I remember I was driving that Chevy Caprice at the
I
time.
was driving my
It
Camaro.
didn't have any brakes in the back.
No brakes.
You don't need brakes, you just drive uphill.
This is true. And 3 rights make a left.
Oh my goodness.
2 rights make an airplane.
This is true.
So while we're talking about filmmaking, which we're not, but we're going to now. That's my segue for tonight, because, no, we were talking about John Carpenter level budgets and, eking the most movie out for your dollar. Despite that, a couple of things this movie does really, really well. The use of the kind of ambulatory staff. Every shot with the staff coming out to pick up the dead bodies, throw them on the airport conveyor belt like so much luggage, and then have them open and fixed. For the time, that doesn't look like a low budget movie.
Mm-mm.
And even their little like scoot around maintenance cart that he's fixing when Yul Brynner shows up and blasts the one
They're
working class
branded.
guy.
Those things are branded.
They were fancy for the
Mhm.
time. I mean, they're using their money efficiently.
Probably somebody owned a couple of Vespas. They were just like, all right, we're just gonna spray paint them white.
Not a Vespa.
I know, but I mean,
Nothing
like,
like a
you
Vespa.
have maybe somebody is a car collector or
You can't drive a Vespa in a desert.
they didn't really drive them. I mean, it was like 10 feet and that was
I
it.
mean, I guess you could break one down in the desert. Yeah.
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe. Why not?
But anyway, they're stretching their budget
The audience
in
doesn't
the
see,
right
but
places.
I'm giving George the finger right now.
They're putting they're putting their money on
Snippy.
the screen. They're not using it really on cast, which is why you have so few characters, which is why they have so much character development between your two main characters, because they have the time, because they don't have the money to bring in more characters. But it results in, cool looking robots that end up burning for way longer than you see in most Hollywood movies. Those are serious burns.
Very flammable. That was a lot of flames. That was more than like Jason Voorhees flames.
Well, you know
He was
what
on
movie it made me
fire.
think of, Travis? I'm not going to tell you because we haven't watched
I know
it
what
yet.
you're thinking of.
But
Yes,
that
yes,
one,
yes.
there's 3 key elements in this movie that influence a certain director in later movies that you can tell. Now,
Mhm.
one I've heard in interviews related to the style of how Michael Myers walks in the first Halloween, kind of that slow pacing. Because again, up until Halloween, you've never really seen the slasher in action besides Leatherface and company.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Myers has a very deliberate pace, way different than anything you saw in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You never see the killer in Black Christmas. So this is the first time you've got the slow stalker that's now the trope. Well, that is inspired by the way Yul Brynner and the gunslinger moves in this movie. And you can Google that. It's all over the
No,
internet,
I've actually heard Carpenter say that.
which is cool.
Yeah, I think he talks about High Noon as well.
And then if you see They Live, have you seen They Live recently, Travis?
I have, but I know George has not seen They Live.
There's a section of this movie when they get to a certain point in the story and in the park where suddenly you're like, oh, I've seen this in They Live. Like they do this later.
Mm-hmm.
almost the exact same setting. Pretty cool.
Is this a movie where M. Night Shyamalan got his inspiration for Signs?
No.
Because the water... forget it.
No. Detention.
Get to the principal's office. Go to the dean's office.
Swing away, George.
Swing away, George.
away.
I do have to say I agree with George. Like the ending was very lame.
Tell me why.
Because he burned for first the acid. There wasn't enough damage to him after that acid. There should have been way more damage to the appendage that was his face.
What?
There should have been seams should have been melted away. There should have been some robotic visuals like Terminator.
I don't remember acid.
I
remember water.
He threw acid on Yul Brynner when he walked past him when he was laying on the bed. Remember he had sulfuric acid and...
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there was 3 different acids, and he threw it on his face, and he kind of... There was smoke, there was this and that, but it didn't eat enough away.
Right.
So
what are his
that
eyes
bothered-
made out of, anyway?
I don't know.
Marbles.
And is it something that gets affected by acid?
Silver
But the
marbles.
silicone skin or whatever should have melted. It definitely should have at least hung off his face. It should have been more visually...
What was the skin made out of,
Deteriorated.
Travis?
I don't know.
Jesus, man.
But it should have reacted to the acid. Just like an alien, when the thing gets cut and that goes all the way through to the hull of the ship, that acid keeps burning through floor by floor by floor.
You know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see more fireworks. Like firecrackers in the helmet at the end.
That was lame.
More firecrackers.
The charred after the burn, the flame burn.
The flame burn was dope.
The flame burn was fine.
Because
but when he saw him again and he was all charred, he did this weird leap. Like he stuck his hand out and then did like a weird leap.
It's like a proto jump scare before they realized
Yeah.
you have to sting it with music.
Right. So and then he
really
fell
true.
flat on his face, and then he got up and he had no face. And
Which
like
was also a scare. You guys are just too jaded by the modern movie setting.
no, I'm fine
That
with
might-
that.
you know,
it just
it
was
might be
done.
true.
It was done. It just wasn't done as well as it's done today. So I get the jump scare of the no face and all that stuff, but that was already revealed, so it really didn't bother. It wasn't like, oh my god, he has no face. Like it was already revealed that he had a detachable face. So
Yeah.
that wasn't a surprise to me. And then the like you said, the sparklers.
The sparklers, yeah.
It just
Firecrackers.
again, we've seen that kind of thing done in the early 80s with a certain movie, and it was way better. Now, yeah, you're probably talking about 10 years later, but it just, better effects were done in the 50s. So I was kind of not impressed with the ending. The story ending, fine, but the visuals of it, I was not buying it.
I don't know about this Saving Private Ryan. We have UAVs today that be doing all the recon. We'd know exactly where those cannons were. Fuck, those cannons would be so dead. We'd be hitting them with ICBMs from our bases over in Greenland. You know,
That's not the same.
Is it though?
Not the
You're talking to somebody who loves stop motion animation when done right. Like I can watch a Ray Harryhausen movie and be like, those skeletons are cool as shit.
You mean like basket
I can
case?
watch. Yeah, but it's like a hand puppet.
I love basket case.
It's
I
a
really
hand
shouldn't.
puppet.
It's such garbage, but
No,
woo.
it is kind of garbage, but it's fun garbage. Just like I love the movie Pumpkinhead. I love that movie, not because it's a good movie, but because the practical effects are amazing.
Yeah, I love Pumpkinhead too.
You've never seen it.
Yeah, you're right.
They made you believe that Yul Brynner had no face or brain. It was just an empty shell of a man standing
fine.
up. Ah, jeez
Yeah,
Louise.
I loved his performance way before his face came off, and then I was just like, meh. They blew it. For me, personally, doesn't make me hate the movie. It just makes me. It kind of took me out of a movie when it's so badly rendered, I guess is the correct word. When the effects are badly performed, the sparklers had to go. I'm sorry.
Well, there goes our sponsorship from Black Cats.
And then the music at the end. I was like,
I know
that takes you out of it too.
I know it's supposed to be eerie, Dan, like when you see him without a face. But like, I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, oh, cool, a gut shot. Like, I want to see what's inside a robot. Just too into electronics.
Holy moly. Well, we'll have to watch a few more disfigured face movies to see if we can find what scares George.
Yes. Let's do it.
I can think of 2 or 3 right off the top of my head.
You know what it reminded me of, Dan?
What's that?
The classic The Fly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You look at the movie The Fly, and it's basically just a guy wearing a glove and a mask.
Not even a mask. He has like a
Not even-
sheet over his head for most of the movie.
Right, most of the movie. But
Because
I'm
they
talking
know
about
it looks like shit, and they're trying to hide it from you so that it, they don't overexpose their crappy effect. They understood what they were doing.
The reveal is as shocking as what they wanted this reveal to be, but it was done way better. It hit its mark. It hit its mark. It hit the score mark. It hit everything when she pulls this hood off of the guy,
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah, I've seen it.
No, you didn't. So he's trying to push her to do something, and he finally gets in her face, and she pulls the hood off, and he's got a fly head. But it's like 1951.
Okay.
So it's not scary
I'm gonna have to watch this.
because it's not done to be scary, but the reveal is scary. Like, it's shocking, not scary.
Gotcha.
This could have been that way, but it was kind of hokey to me when he just kind of sits up.
Whatever.
I'll tell you what.
I think at this
we're
point,
losing George.
no, I think at this point, like, Dan loves this movie. I don't really like this movie that much. Travis likes some things about the movie and is dissatisfied with some things about the movie. I don't think anyone's mind's getting changed tonight.
This is true.
God, it's like Facebook.
That's terrible.
No, I have some hot takes on the fly if you're ready for these, Travis.
Mm-hmm.
Simpsons did it better.
Oh.
Like
Wow.
that 7-minute clip in that Treehouse of Horror episode from The Simpsons does in 7 minutes what the first Fly movie took an hour and a half to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it does it just as well.
And you know why? Because they have a point of reference, and they had 20 years to think about it.
I agree.
All right. We're gonna put this under the belligerent episode.
Well, and it's the same thing with RoboCop. I think that George has an unacknowledged bias against sci-fi that we're going to need to work against. I think we're going to need to know coming in, because I had a feeling that this was too RoboCop-y for George. I was hoping by beating him about the head during the RoboCop episode that I would bring him, closer into the fold with this movie, but I understand now that I'm up against forces greater than my own influence. And so I'm just going to need to know when we do sci-fi that involves robots that George isn't going to like it. And I'm going to have to make him understand why it's important.
I don't know that that's fair. But like for instance, this isn't like technically robots, but there was an episode of Black Mirror.
Hi guys, it's Dan in Post. What is about to happen needs some context. He doesn't know that he's watching Total Recall next, and he has no idea anything about the movie Total Recall. So keep this in mind. He's watching Total Recall next. We made the decision to watch Total Recall before we recorded this episode and hadn't told him yet. And even if we had, he didn't know what Total Recall was. Now, listen to what he describes in Black Mirror and just join us in rejoicing for what is to come in our next episode.
Where you could implant this thing in your head and you can replay memories and it can like make you think faster, and it can like it's just like this, this technology thing, right? That you like implant in your head and it does this thing. It basically makes you part robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gets kind of out of control. I don't know. It gets out of control. This episode gets out of control. It's a beautiful episode, and I loved it.
See, you might have preferred the book or movie Terminal Man, also by Michael Crichton, where basically they've got a a brain implant that's supposed to suppress the urges of a homicidal person, and then it starts misfiring and making them actually more homicidal. And now he's on the run, and they gotta get him.
I would like that.
These are not robot movies, though.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't like robot movies, George. And that's okay. You just need to acknowledge it. So next time we do a robot movie, you're like, oh, it's a robot movie. I don't like these.
All right.
I would propose that,
Well, that's a challenge then. Find me a robot movie that I'll like.
well, we'll work on it.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a huge robot fan either. I think I like the social commentary more than I like the robots themselves. But I would propose that you could actually do a pretty cool Westworld theme park if you could come up with a good, like, reliable paintball gun type thing that looked like an old-fashioned gun.
Although those things hurt.
Well,
I don't know if I want to get 6 foot, point blank range with a paintball.
Whatever.
That would be
yeah,
fun.
but if you could find a reliable paintball gun that made the big kaboom sound when you pulled the trigger and didn't kill people, and then instead of having robots, you just had staff whose job it was to get shot and act out parts, it'd just be like LARPing in the West. But you could make some pretty good money doing that. I would go.
I'd go.
Don't bang those robots, though, because they're people, not robots.
I'm thinking about this summer getting on staff down in Cape May to do a pirate ship where you're improvising as a pirate for the guests.
Well, there you go, man.
Sounds like fun. I'd do it.
Don't bang those
Yeah.
pirates. They're not robots. They're people. I don't know why I sound so pro banging robot. Don't bang robots. That's
don't
probably
bang
not a good
robots.
idea.
Robots are people too.
Yeah, this is true. And some of the ones coming out of Asia are really hot.
Wow.
Oh, man. You'd think I'd cut that. I'm not going to. That stays in.
Of course not. You better cut it.
Oh,
jeez.
man.
Hey, it's Dan in post. I didn't cut it. Oh, George. You will see. At some point in the future, we're going to watch another movie that's influenced by by a segment of this, and we'll talk about it at the time. But just know that you're going to hear about Westworld in the future a couple of times. And
Okay.
you probably ought to watch the TV show, because even though I think the things you were looking for in this movie are better addressed in the long format.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Here's how they do the Westworld show. And this isn't a spoiler, I don't think. If they had done season 1 and stopped, it would have been perfect. Because they decided to do season 2, they built upon what they did in season 1. And had they stopped at the end of season 2, it would have been pretty near perfect. Like 1 and 2 are seriously good, well developed, stand on their own, kind of like how Christopher Nolan, because it's Jonathan Nolan is who's involved in the show. Christopher Nolan, the way he did Batman Begins, if they don't get to do a second one, it stands on its own as
perfect,
awesome. Right? It ties into the world as we already know it, and you can just leave it there. But it leaves room for the Dark Knight, which builds upon it. But again, if you stop at the end of Dark Knight and you don't make a third one, pretty damn perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike Dark Knight Rises, which, season 3 of Westworld really gets off the rails. Hot takes on the Westworld show. Season 1's perfect. Season 2's worth it, but not perfect. And season 3, skip it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It tracks. It tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, but eventually you get season 9 that would be a crossover with Jason. Jason versus Westworld, Westworld versus Jason. I'm on board.
Jason, part of Westworld.
Oh,
You can
man.
go to Crystal Lake.
No, I talked about that when the show was on because they're all owned by the
Mhm.
same company now. Where it's like you could have Jason and Batman show up in Westworld, or you could give me a Gotham world, right? Like Batworld, where
That would be cool.
Batman is a robot and Robin's a robot and the Joker's a robot, and
I always thought it'd be cool to open a camp and actually have that kind of feel to it where you're in the world of Friday 13th. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be scary.
Well, I think we've tried to convince George, but given my respect for consent, I say we go no further.
Okay.
George, are you ready to hear what we're doing in 2 weeks?
Sure.
Okay, this movie.
This is a movie.
We're gonna watch Jurassic Park. No, I'm kidding.
That'd be cool.
We just did.
We just did. We're gonna watch Blazing Saddles.
For real?
No.
No.
We are going to watch a movie
Okay.
that kind of plays into the
Nip,
levels
nip,
that we've
nip,
been.
nip, nip. No hints. No discussions.
No hints. So we're not gonna
You
say we're watching
Tell him-
the Terminator.
We're gonna tell him the title of the movie, and then he's gonna go, "I don't know what that is," and then we're gonna go, "Good," and then we're gonna wrap up. Proceed.
We're gonna watch the classic movie Total Recall. Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Do you recall hearing anything about Total Recall, George?
He's making a face like he doesn't want to watch it.
No, I'm trying to think of what
I thought
Total.
he's pooping.
No, I'm trying to think of what Total Recall is.
He's trying to recall what Total Recall is.
I have definitely heard of it.
That's good. It's a plus.
I think it might just be the. You know what it is? It's the play on words with the Chase Bliss pedal.
Oh, yeah, the Tonal Recall.
Yeah, the Tonal Recall.
Yeah, that's.
I've
I mean,
never
that's
seen the
basically
movie.
what the movie's about. The movie's about a guitar pedal that says the echo.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Shout out to those guys at Chase Bliss.
a lot of knobs,
A lot
Yeah.
of knobs.
a lot of switches.
Yeah, I don't know this movie at all, so that'd be
Okay.
good.
Well, in that case, I say we wrap up here. Nothing better than throwing George into a movie that he may or may not like. Luckily, well, I will say no
There's
more.
a few things better, I think.
I can think
Are
of
there
3 things
robots
right
in
off
it?
the top of my head. Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod or find the extra credit group at facebook.com/groups/remedialfilmpod. You can also find us at Twitter and Instagram at remedialfilmpod. You can email us at remedialfilmpod@gmail.com, or you can just think really, really hard, remedial, and we might hear you, or, not. Probably not. See you in 2 weeks for Total Recall. Or is it all just a dream?
I much rather have the George that likes the movie than the George that doesn't.
Yeah,
but it's
George that
fine.
doesn't
Yeah,
like the
whatever.
movie isn't any fun.
It's a dick.
Well, we'll get him a lunch
Sorry.
detention and he'll be fine.
Yeah. Give me nappy. Before
All right,
stabby.
I'll take a nap. I'll have a snack. I'll watch Total
Get some
Recall.
warm milk.
We're going to need a
Yeah.
Snickers sponsorship here. Just
Yep.
Put on your footy pajamas.
I'll have a Snickers before I
Have a
start.
Snickers.
I haven't had a Snickers in like a year. That sounds delicious.
I had a Snickers right around Halloween.
Mm,
I raid the kids' bag for Snickers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a
Definitely.
Heath Bar guy.
Oof.
I
Sometimes.
like
It depends.
I like Heath bars.
I like Heath bars.
You don't have
They're
to
all right.
like them. It's actually better
It's
if
not
you
good
guys don't like them, because then I don't have to share.
It's more for you.
I actually like Milky Ways, but I don't like them room temperature.
Right.
They gotta be frozen.
Interesting.
Yeah.